before them. The county budget is unbalanced. How will you balance the budget and hold spending down? Start down here.
Well, if we were going to want to bring the budget down, we're gonna need to live within our means. We need to look at what projects we want to prioritize. We need to fulfill our core functions of the roads and the upkeep of the county. And we need to look at some of our luxuries that have not been paid for through grants and look at those to see if we can cut them. And we also need to pursue more grants for our day-to-day business.
Okay.
We're constantly looking at grants to pay for a lot of the, we're looking for a grant to replace the bridge in Lehigh, that'd be one example. We're constantly looking for money to pay for fixing the roads and for, part of that grant money is to get Sheriff Fleener another narcotics officer, so we're working hard that direction as far as balancing the budget. The budget is good right now, but if anything goes south on us, we're gonna have to make adjustments. And we've had about 3 or 4 different adjustments that we've had to make. That's just doing business. That's gonna happen. At least the funding is there for us to cover these issues.
I believe we need to freeze spending on unnecessary spending for 2 years, and keep up with our general maintenance throughout the county. Right now, the county's running almost $3 million deficit, with a third of their budget coming from intergovernment funding, such as grants and stuff like that. If we could build the general fund up, instead of raising people's taxes, put a freeze on spending, that would help build that general fund and be able to allocate that money to different projects. So.
I know there was an amendment to the budget, I believe on September 24th in that Board of Supervisors meeting. As Clayton did just mention, there was about a $2.83 million deficit in the budget. We're collecting roughly $65 million. Left us in the general fund with $27 million. That would be down from $28 million prior to this amendment. So we are running a deficit. I do understand it does take a lot of money to run a county. You have to have your sheriff's department equipped, your secondary roads department equipped, and the inflationary period right now has just made it, more expensive to do those things. But I do think we have to be mindful of the taxpayer and everything we do, and make sure we can try to balance that budget out as we move forward in Webster County.
I love this question. So, what a lot of people don't realize is the county cannot submit a budget that's not balanced. The state of Iowa requires us to submit a balanced budget. It also requires us to set spending limits, whether it's your expenses and also your revenue limits. So, if somebody looks at the Department of Management, which anybody can go on and look at, and looks at the front sheet, it might look like, oh, we're off by $2 million. That's because all of our projects are in there and all the funding has not come in yet. That means the state, federal government, or any other agency that we may be receiving a grant from, we don't get those all at once at the beginning of the year. We get them throughout the year. The county has incredibly good people working there, from our auditor to our engineer. Our engineer funds all of his own projects because he carries about an $8 million surplus in there. He doesn't have to go to the auditor and say, I need $6 million for the bridge. When we see major projects coming like the Lehigh Bridge, we've been building that fund up so we don't have to borrow money when it gets here. So again, we're gonna budget for that project, but we may not have the revenue set in there right away at the end of the year because he may not need all of that. If bids come in low, we're only gonna fund to the bids. But we have the total amount what we anticipate that project or the engineer's estimate in there. So, if anybody has a question on the budget, I love working on the budget, and I'll sit down with you and go over any numbers with you.
Thank you. This is a general question. We'll start again with Mark and work across the table. What specific opportunities are there